Have you ever felt stuck in patterns that don't serve you? Struggled with stress or wanted to connect more deeply with yourself? Then I have to introduce you to a friend of the podcast, Ashley Bentley of Integrated Coaching, Breathwork and Hypnotherapy. Ashley is a highly experienced clinical hypnotherapist and coach specializing in working with neurodivergent minds. Through a unique blend of integrative coaching, breathwork and hypnotherapy, Ashley helps people rewire subconscious patterns, regulate their nervous systems, and step into more empowered versions of themselves. Whether you're dealing with addiction, anxiety, burnout, or struggles with self-acceptance, Ashley offers practical and science-backed tools tailored just for you. Her unique methods combine neuroscience, storytelling, and subconscious transformation to create real, lasting change. Jordan and I can personally attest to the profound and transformative effects of her sessions, which have been life-changing. She does all of these sessions online, meaning she can work with you no matter where you are in the world. If you're ready to break free from old patterns and start living with more clarity, confidence, and connection, go to bit.ly/Ashley NDE to book a free consultation or learn more.
Oh, hot, 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 hot! Hot, 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 hot!
Hot topic.
Hello, welcome to this week's Hot Topic. This one is a difficult one. It's a big one, but we have to discuss it. RFK Jr., last Wednesday, he spoke at a press conference staged in response to a report about apparently rising rates of autism published by the US's Center for Disease Control and Prevention. This is what he had to say.
This is an individual tragedy as well. Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children. These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure into autism when they're 2 years old. And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children, and we need to put an end to it.
Well,
Damn, dude. I mean, talk about what a hot topic to start our weekly Hot Topic episode.
that's why it needed one. That's why we're doing it in general, because unfortunately, there's not enough room in our podcast just to talk about something like this at the end. And these stories are coming hot and fast, and we need to talk about it. Our culture, our experiences need to be heard on this topic.
It's this man has started a war. That's what he's done. He has started a war with the autistic community. He has started a war with the medical community. He has started a war with humanity for anyone who has an ounce of compassion to not just say, oh, because somebody presents in a certain way when they're autistic, when they're children, that means they can't do all those things. Because let's start this off with clarifying what he was talking about, because I have seen a lot of people just playing that one clip and then a lot of autistic people jumping on him saying, oh, I do. And I did it because fuck him. That's why I did it. I know what he bloody was talking about, but at the same time, he makes stuff up. He manipulates things. We are just fighting fire with fire, because at the moment, the water's not working. We try in the hard way. Now we've got to fight back, because this is everything that we've been fighting against, but it's the American Secretary of Health. The American Secretary of Health, who has now taken control of the CDC, which was freaking shitty anyway, and he's just using it to spread his own agenda of vaccines cure autism. There is no research for this. He's not doing research. He's just going to manipulate the figures. We're not stupid. We all know what he's doing. That aside, what he was actually talking about is this number, and then I'll explain where he's got this number from. I mean, it's his arse, but also there is a study. So he's talking about 25, this is what he says, 25% of autistic people are going to not be able to do these things. 25%.
Is that all autistic people is what he's saying?
This is the manipulation game, is the fact that he will take one study and he will use that one study and the numbers from that one study to then say 25%. But then he doesn't say all autistic people, but he doesn't say these 20,000 autistic people that were in this one study. And I will talk about this study because I read it, because I actually do my fucking research. Basically, he's manipulating the narrative by only speaking about one thing, but not telling anyone that that's what he's doing. So if anyone says, oh, where did you get that 25%? You can go, well, there was this one study that the people did from the Child Mind Institute. I don't know if you like my RFK impression.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. Thanks,
Cool.
dude. Just lighten the shitty mood.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. I'll bring us back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole study. We'll link the study.
Absolutely.
Or we'll link the article about the study because, like, the whole study is like, well, it's a massive study. So essentially, the highlights of this study is that the parameters of this study is very interesting because this is what he's talking about. The parameters of this study are that what they consider to be, and I apologize for this language, profound, which is not a medical term, by the way. The profound autism is classified as an autistic person who has an IQ of 50 or lower.
Obsessed with IQs, aren't they? It's always the IQs.
Incredible for people who probably don't measure an IQ. Okay, so it's IQ less of 50, and this is the kicker, or being non-verbal or minimally verbal. That is a fucking huge leap, dude, to go someone who is mentally incapable of making a decision because, and IQ is very controversial. I'm not even going to argue with that.
Yeah,
but it is the measurement.
I don't supply to the IQ
No,
thing.
and at the end of the day, if somebody is non-verbal or non-communicative, and by the way, this study is done on 20,000 8-year-olds, you can't measure someone's IQ at 8. That's why IQ tests start when people are teenagers and mostly when they're adults. You shouldn't be measuring 8-year-olds' IQ if you're doing a medical study. You can do it as like a baseline for like educational purposes, which I don't agree with, but you know that you can do that. You can have an idea of what their learning capabilities are at that time for their schooling. But again, I don't agree with that. But to say that this is them, that's it. 8 years old, you've got an IQ lower than 50. That's your life, that is. And therefore, according to this dickhead, they won't be able to do said listed things, which is one, how the fuck do you know? Like, even if they do measure low on the IQ, that doesn't mean that they can't do any of those things.
What baffles me about this, though, is he starts listing these things. There aren't many people that write poetry for a start. You know, they go, oh yeah, you'll never play baseball, you'll never do this. I know lots of neurotypical people that don't play sport. I know lots of neurotypical people that don't write poems. There are a lot of neurotypical people that don't pay tax. And yet this seems to be just sort of like shoehorned, navigated into things that we can't do, things that we're not capable of, why we need a cure to help ourselves, to be normal like you.
It's scaremongering. It's giving the idea that autism causes such disability that they are incapable of living a quote unquote normal life, right? A neurotypical life, as I like to think that's what they're talking about. He might as well have come up there going, oh, well, they'll never do what neurotypical can do. He might as well have spread that nonsense. But for me, I want to quickly talk about the fact that this idea, and let's just assume that one of the parameters is an IQ less than 50. Let's just put IQ thoughts aside. Let's say that they do have an IQ less than 50, right? But they're also saying that it's non-verbal and minimally verbal. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you actually kidding me that if a child is non-speaking, which is what we like to say, if a child is non-speaking or minimally speaking, that they'll never do any of those things? Because that's what that's the study he's talking about. He says 25%. It's actually 26.7% if you want to get accurate. So the study's done on 20,000 8-year-old American children from all different backgrounds. So male, female, diversity of races.
Diagnosed or undiagnosed?
Diagnosed. And this is the interesting thing.
Right.
They're diagnosed. They can't be self-identified, right? So if you have, assuming that they have to go 50-50 with girls and boys, right? Assuming. Well, even by their own admission, this study says that it's mostly found in the girls that they did the study on, that they had this quote unquote profound autism, right? And remember, that means IQ less than 50 or just not speaking. So what they actually admit, which is lovely that the RFK will happily not mention any of this because it doesn't really suit his rhetoric,
it's funny that, isn't it?
Weird.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, so we are going to mention it. Is basically what they're saying is because most children at the age of 8 that are boys are more easily diagnosed because of the DSM-5, because of the, still to this day,
it's the kind of rhetoric, isn't it?
It is. It is the idea that, you know, boys are autistic and girls are just different. It is. There is still that biased towards boys. So the autistic boys will be a varied idea of the spectrum. Autistic girls at that age are far more likely to be significantly more impacted and impaired than the boys. Simply, and this is them saying this. This is not me. This is the people that did the study said this, that because most girls who are high masking don't get diagnosed till much later on, which we all know that is actually factual. So any girl that's diagnosed by 8 will be what we like to call obviously DSM-5 autistic. So they are highly more likely to be non-verbal, non-speaking, minimal speaking. I'm not going to go with the IQ thing because that kind of makes me feel a bit sickening, but essentially they're going to be more obviously autistic.
Yeah, it's more recognizable in the eyes of the DSM-5 criteria.
Yes,
yeah.
and the negative stereotypes, which is what they're looking at, and even they admit that in the study. So already, let's assume that they've got 10,000 because 10,000 girls, 10,000 boys. I mean, that's how a study should be done. So assuming they've done that, 10,000. So half of that study includes girls who are going to put those numbers up automatically by the fact that they only have diagnosed autistic girls. And they even said that these numbers can't be truly representative of the spectrum as a whole. One, because it's only 20,000 8-year-olds. And I don't know if you know this, there's a few more of us than that.
What?
And yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We should do a hot topic on just that. There is more than 20,000 autistic people on the planet.
God.
One, again, it's children.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do this with adults? I tell you why. In exactly the Steve Silverman episode, he was talking about this because so many of these people that are completely and utterly forgotten about make absolutely amazing progress later on in life. So all RFK is doing is what every single medical professional who had such a closed mindset has done and is still doing now. Not that he's a medical professional, he's far from it. But what medical professionals are doing is just putting a lid directly on the potential of any child that appears, and I will say appears, to have a very, very low IQ, because you can't actually know that. At 8 years old, you can't know that. So appears to have a very low IQ or is just non-speaking. And this is the thing, is if you break these things down, if you look behind the curtain, you will see all the flaws, and their entire argument just collapses, because he will go on, and I saw him on an interview afterwards saying, oh, it's only 25%. It's not 25%. It's 26.7% of your version of profound, your parameters of profound, which, by the way, aren't actually accepted by medical professionals. This is just one study on a fraction of autistic people across the planet.
So this is the thing that frustrates me with this whole thing, Jordan, is studies should come from a place of non-bias. It is to make a discovery of results. And if you're coming in with a biased perspective on a scientific study, it is therefore illegitimate because you're going in with bias. You're not going in to find out, you're going in to create results that backs up what you're trying to say. That's what this is. Secondly, a scientific study is only truly acceptable if it's reproducible.
Absolutely.
So they need to do multiple studies of multiple different groups, not just children that are under 8 years old. Because what has not happened yet, Jordan?
The second round of synaptic pruning.
Absolutely. This, I've got a couple of articles out here in front of me, and do you know what? John Harris of The Guardian sums this up brilliantly with the opening statement of his article on this. The idea that autism is some aberration that can be cured is typical of a movement that celebrates simplistic thinking and loathes human difference. This matches what is happening in the US, and it is incredibly terrifying, because you will see off the back of this so many people who were where I was a couple of years ago, who are learning who they are or understanding who they are. And not only will this put a cap on a lot of people's potential, but it'll put a cap on a lot of people's, understanding. Like figuring out I was autistic, neurodivergent, it was like coming home. It was like finding my community, finding who I am, embracing my special interests, my soul, everything. And there will be a lot of people that will read this who, I had a conversation with somebody just this past few days talking about why is it that somebody in a white coat can tell you what you know about you? How they can't. You know who you are. You know your traits. You know your personality. If you have autistic traits and you have autistic friends and you have special interests and sensory issues, if somebody goes, well, you don't match my idea of autism, that doesn't mean that you aren't autistic. And what frustrates the hell out of me with this really simplistic thinking, this very black and white thinking, again, it's looking at the negative, the negative, the negative, the negative. You'll never write a poem. You'll never pay taxes. Neither does Elon Musk. But yeah, he still seems to be doing quite all right for himself, doesn't he? And that is the thing that is really frustrating me about all of this sort of rhetoric, is all of this money, all of this time, all of this research is being put into what causes, quote, I'm finger quoting there, quoting, what causes autism. Now, imagine if they put this energy into how can we mobilize help autistic people? Because they go, oh, autistic people will never hold a job. Bollocks. They do hold jobs. There is people currently serving in the office of the United States that will be autistic. And what frustrates the hell out of me about this is they're going, oh, they'll never have jobs. Let's find out why. Well, why aren't autistic people keeping jobs? Why aren't autistic people, feeling thriving in society? What? That's the bit that really pisses me off about this.
Well, it's not only that, dude. It's the fact that he's out there spouting this nonsense, right? And he's saying, oh, they'll never hold down a job, right? And it's like, well, actually, you might be onto something there, RFK, because your fucking bow down, suck my dick leader just got rid of DEI, which literally helped autistic people get jobs. So which one is it? Do you want to keep DEI and help autistic people get jobs? So he's actually out there going, autistic people won't be able to work. No, they won't, because you got rid of DEI. You've actually made it even harder for autistic people now to get into the workplace because you got rid of DEI. Literally, they're out there saying like, oh, it's a disease, it's an epidemic, it's destroying families. And I'm like, no, the only thing that's destroying families is you. Your rhetoric, your negative impact, your anti-vaccine bullshit, your idea that autism is caused by anything other than genetics and evolution. Sex causes autism. That's it. If you don't like it, I can't help you because it's not me. I didn't come up with it. I didn't make this up. I did the research, and all the top professionals, such as Simon Baron-Cohen, such as the great Dr. Luke Bearden, even Steve Silverman, all the people that I have communicated with, they're at the top of their professional when it comes to autism, will all tell you there is one quote unquote cause, and that is having neurodivergent parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, because it's supposed to exist. This difference is supposed to exist. Now, yes, there are some profoundly, we're using their term because that's what they like, profoundly disabled and impaired autistic people that will probably never do those things. Now, I'd rather do the study on the adults and say, look, we're doing the study on the adults who have never achieved this.
Because there's a lot more of them out there than there is 8-year-olds, because, you know, we do live past 18. Believe it or not, we do exist after 18 years old.
The whole child thing is just doing my head in. But anyway, it's what they like to concentrate on because it's scaremongering. It's the same thing as that thing in the village where you might have some old lady living outside the village on her own. She's got some cats, and there might be black cats, and she might do some cooking. She's got a big pot. She likes to make a stew. She's a witch. How do you know she's a witch? Because she eats the children.
She turned me into a frog. I got better. Thank you.
If you bring children into any conversation and act like those children are in danger of something, you have easily manipulated your target audience, which is parents of children. It's coming to get you. That boogeyman, they're coming to get you.
Autism Awareness Month. Be aware.
Yeah. Autism Speaks did this. They did, I think it's 2009. They released an ad that literally acted like autism's coming for your family.
Damn, it got me.
It's coming.
It got me,
for
Jordan.
you. We must battle this evil thing. It's gross. It's on YouTube. Check it out. Right? It's super gross. Now, this brings me on to a very interesting letter.
Oh, okay.
that was released by ASAN, that's the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. And it says, this is official letter, while our organisation reflects a broad range of perspective and experiences, we are aligned in the following principles. Vaccines do not cause autism. Decades of scientific research confirm there is no causal link. Public health messaging must be grounded in science and protect all communities. Autistic individuals deserve respect and support. Public dialogue and policy must reflect the inherent value, rights, and diverse needs to autistic people. Evidence-based policy is essential. We call on policymakers to work in collaboration with autistic individuals, families, researchers, clinicians, and disability organizations to ensure policy is grounded in science and responsive to community needs. We are deeply concerned by growing public rhetoric and policy decisions that challenge these shared principles. claims that autism is preventable, is not supported by scientific consensus, and perpetuates stigma. Language framing autism as a chronic disease, a childhood disease, or epidemic distorts public understanding and undermines respect for autistic people. There's a little bit more, but I think that pretty much covers it. What is immensely incredible to me is this is signed by Autism Speaks, as well as
Wow.
like a self-advocate network, Autism Society of America, the Arc of United States, just like a whole load of huge autism charities in America. But the biggest and most controversial, and let's admit it, the most hated in the autistic community, actually signed that. And they went, stop it. Now, when someone as bad as Autism Speaks comes out and says, stop it, you know it's bad. It is bad. It's like Darth Vader saying stop it to Emperor Palpatine.
And throwing him like, stop
He's
it.
like, do you know what? I've had enough of this. I mean, I've killed kids and I've like destroyed planets, but
this is too far.
You, sir,
this is too far.
This is too much. So yeah, Emperor Palpatine, I mean RFK, has taken things too far, and even Autism Speaks thinks so. And do you know what I think is like quite ironic? Is the fact that I think he's got a lot of his ideas of autism being so terrible from Autism Speaks. Not Autism Speaks necessarily now.
There is a lot of language crossover, definitely.
Yeah. So Autism Speaks actually had, in I think again roughly 2009, they actually had a separate entity of their charity that was called Cure Autism Now, or something along those lines, right? And it was seeped in eugenics. It was, let's stop this thing. Let's find out what causes. It was what RFK is essentially doing now. And Autism Speaks now, we're like, no, stop that. Like, we get it. The CDC still say that there is outside influence. But in this letter, they say no, which is really interesting, actually, because this letter, basically, this was the bit of the letter that I found the most interesting, was the fact that it said, claims that autism is preventable, is not supported by scientific consensus, and perpetuates stigma. That means, right, because if autism is caused by any outside influence other than genetics, then it is preventable. So if people are saying, oh, metal's in baby food, then it's preventable. If people are saying, too much starch, I don't know, it's preventable. If people are saying that it's brain damage caused by injury after birth, anything that happens after a baby is born, technically, you could say it's preventable. The only thing that's not preventable is if it is guaranteed to happen no matter what happens. It's guaranteed to happen. And the only thing that can guarantee something to happen, right, other than possible injury during pregnancy, which, again, technically, if you know stuff, that might also be preventable. So the only thing that can guarantee it from conception, so we're even bypassing pregnancy, from conception to the child, the only thing is genetics. Like, I don't know how else to tell people.
The genetic code, it's the transfer of DNA.
It's parent to child. I don't know how else to explain this to people. I don't know why people are.
Again. God damn.
We are blaming the parents. It's your fault because you're autistic. Do keep having children, because the more of us there are,
we need an army of us now to fight them off. We need more soldiers.
Do you know what? I'm having my vasectomy reversed immediately, and I'm going to have 37 children just to balance this out.
Yes.
We are.
We're militarizing our men and women.
And do you know what? When we say militarizing, we're going to militarize, because we are very good at that.
We're going to teach all the kids karate from a very young age.
Not if it ain't their special interest. We're not.
No. But yeah, this is.
If karate is your special interest, give us a call and you can join our army.
It's so disappointing, isn't it? I feel like we'd we were making progress, right? I think this is I have American friends, and this whole administration just feels like not like one big step backwards. It's like a free fall backwards of common sense. And all of this just feels like Andrew Wakefield all over again. Measles, mumps, rubella. I talked about this to my mum the other day. She was like, "Oh yeah, you nearly didn't have the measles jab because of the Wakefield research and things like that." And it's incredibly frustrating that this sort of pronouncement. It's not about what causes autism. It reflects that age-old perception of autism is ruining our kids. It is, your kids are uneducable. They're never going to contribute to the bottom line of the economy, which is what they're saying when they're talking about they can't work. It's not that, we don't want you working in airports and we don't want you doing this and this and this. We want you to contribute to the bottom line of the economy. We want you to be the lowest of the working class. We want to get you in work, all these tariffs and stuff. They're like, we're going to build factories in America. Are they planning to fill these factories in America full of these young adults that can't be taught anything and need the bums wiping for them? Like, is this what we're getting at here? I just feel like we're going backwards. We're absolutely going backwards. And this also, in my opinion, makes self-identifying so much more important, because all of this help that barely exists anyway is being cut. The federal government policy is cutting so much of these abilities to have real answers rather than just this sort of pseudo-science answer that they're creating. And I just really hope that this doesn't influence UK policy. I really hope that this, it doesn't travel across the Atlantic and people and our schools start to implement all of this sort of shit.
Yeah, I know the phrase, if America sneezes, the world catches a cold, but I feel like in this case, I think America's shit. We're going to clean it up. That's what we're going to do. We're going to wipe the diaper of RFK, because obviously he can't hold it in anymore, and he just keeps spouting this shit.
And the thing as well about RFK, dude, I was doing a little bit of reading about him. He loves lizards. He loves talking about lizards. He holds up lizards in photos, and he, other than just his brainworm. But there's a lot of RFK talking about lizards out there, and I was a little bit like, is this friendly fire?
Is this internalized ableism at its most intense?
I'm like, I can't prove that. But he has the issue with his voice.
Really?
So that's something that has developed with him, and you just kind of look at the guy and some of his sort of mannerisms, and look, I'm not diagnosing him, I'm not identifying him, but I was reading it and I was a little bit
we don't want him.
We don't, you can have him, you can keep him. But there is a little part of me that was like, is this friendly fire?
Yeah, no, I completely agree that is a genuine possibility. It is the equivalent of gay people being on the anti-gay train, being on the you can cure the gay away, pray the gay away. Those pray the gay away.
More. God bless me with his beautiful soul.
He's praying the autism away. He's deflecting his own insecurities. That is definitely a possibility. If I found that out, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I would not be shocked at all. So yeah, we're not saying that he's one of us, because we don't fucking want him. But it wouldn't surprise me. We don't want Elon either. But at the end of the day, just because you're autistic doesn't mean you're our friend. But if you listen to this podcast, you might be.
And thank you for doing so.
And thank you for doing so. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a critical thinker and not a bloody mindless sheeple. So I think we pretty much covered that. I'm sure we'll be talking about this arsehole again.
It's not going to disappear.
It's not going away. But I tell you what, we are here. We are warriors. We are fighters. We are soldiers, and we are going to fight on. And we are not going to go away.
So beware misinformation, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk to actually autistic, neuroaffirming people. Find the right advocates. Find safe spaces. Not all spaces can be safe, but we can try our best to make them safe. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you're thinking. Drop us comments in all of the affiliation with this episode, on Spotify, Apple. We're trying to think of new ways that we can communicate with you and connect with you and build more of a space around the neurodivergent experience. Just doing a hot topic is a step towards that. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want to hear from us, and be good to each other out there, and don't drink the Kool-Aid with this shit, because unfortunately there's a lot more of this stuff out there than there is, true advocacy. So be careful.
Yeah. And check out my page on Facebook, Jordan James, Autistic Photographer. I will be posting a lot of these studies and talking a lot about them, and just fighting the good fight from here and from there. So, I'd love to see your comments there as well.
All right, until next week, guys, we will see you, or hear from you. You'll hear from us, I should say, next Thursday.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience. We hope today's episode sparked something for you, whether it's a new idea, a bit of validation, or just a moment of connection. Remember, new episodes are every week, so be sure to join us for the next one for more conversations and insights into the neurodivergent experience. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help us grow. You can do that by rating and reviewing this show. Your support makes a huge difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search for the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone in this journey.